Hello, everybody. Happy Monday and good morning or good afternoon to you, depending on what time it is in your neck of the woods. For some of you, it's the evening, which is awesome, getting ready to wind down your day. But I think it's a good time to sit down and talk about some goals. So this session is called the Creative Manifesto session, and it looks like we've got Karen checking in from LA. Lydia is here, Val is here with a fire going in her house, which sounds lovely right about now. Michael is here playing hooky from work. I love that, Michael. A nice creative day off, I hope. Juan, we've got Margaret and Betsy. Alex is here. Kirsten is here. Gina. Kirsten's in Sweden, so it's very dark outside by now. It's evening time for her. But so good to see all of you. Christine, excellent. I love seeing all these familiar names and faces. So if you're new around here, you haven't been to one of these sessions, once a month, at the start of the month, I like to sit down and just kind of brainstorm what I want to focus on for the month ahead. So Creative Manifesto is just a fancy set of words to describe kind of your intention or your creative goals for the month. And as artists, I think it's really important to kind of think about what it is that you want to keep doing. What do you want to learn? What are you curious about? And things that'll just kind of keep you motivated. So this session serves to give you an opportunity to sit down and actually spend a few minutes being a little more mindful about your goals and what it is that you want to accomplish in your creative practice. And to start this off, so while you're here with us, if you've just joined us, make sure that you have a sketchbook and something to write with. You're going to need that here in a little bit. But to get us started, I love showing examples of creative manifestos that you all have shared with us in the schoolyard. Some of these are from November. A few of you have been on top of your game and posted your December manifestos already. But I love sharing some images with all of you to kind of just get your brain juices flowing and thinking about creative goals. And there are a few different ways to do this, which is also why I like showing images, to kind of give you some samples and things to think about. So for some of you, setting a creative goal or intention might sound like a little too intense or a little too rigid or constricting. And if that's kind of your situation right now, sometimes I just like to think about a word or even a quote that inspires you. Something that can kind of keep you engaged for the coming month without applying a lot of pressure. So that's one way to do this. Kind of similar to posting a theme for yourself, sort of what is it that you broadly want to think about for the month. And for other people, I'm in this category that like to have a to-do list of sorts. You can think about this as sort of a creative checklist, and I'll show you some examples of that here in a second. So you could think about this of what are the things that you specifically want to do this month, whether it is finish a certain online course, or master a technique. Say you really want to dig into dip pens. Or you could think about other kind of bigger goals, like maybe you're working towards writing a book, or illustrating a year in your life, or drawing your dog every day for the entire year. It's totally up to you, but you can get more specific if that's kind of how your brain works. And it looks like, wow, Jane is in Queensland, Australia, and it's 2 a.m. That is quite an hour to be thinking about your creative goals. I don't know if my brain would function at that hour with this kind of big picture thinking. But at any rate, I want to show you some examples of creative manifestos that you all have shared and just some different ways to approach this. So Anne-Marie did this just in a page in her sketchbook next to a beautiful drawing of a little seal, but she wrote herself a checklist. And, I like this approach. It's very straightforward, simple, and just a way for her to write down some thoughts. Carolyn actually just did a drawing and then added a little reminder to herself for her manifesto in the lower right corner. Her goal was to add more color in a monochrome world. Carolyn, I love this goal and I think it's perfect, especially in the US. Some of us are heading into the winter season. I look out my window right now, it's kind of gray, so I can totally relate to this. So you could just kind of add sort of a goal on top of an existing page or a drawing. Kathy here kind of did this adorable illustration, kind of highlighting some of the things that she wants to work on. So for November, she was working on studying and practicing faces and illustrations of facial features. And I just love the character she's created here, and she drew herself with a little dog. Thought that was pretty cute. So yeah, it can be really straightforward. It can be one creative thing that you want to explore. Holly made herself a checklist, and she's got quite a busy month for the month of November. She was doing lots of things for, they draw and cook. She was creating cards and gifts, and also revisiting some sketchbook school courses. So you can give yourself kind of this to-do list and little check boxes to see what you get done. Karen also gave herself sort of a little reminder of things to think about for the month of November, and she did this beautiful turkey drawing to kind of go along with it, and she included a quote from Milton Glaser. So for those of you that really don't want to pinpoint something specific that you want to do, sometimes just picking a quote that you can kind of identify with for the month can be a really good kind of structure to sort of just keep you inspired and thinking about this bigger idea. So Karen, thanks for sharing that. Lydia created this beautiful page and kind of wrote her different goals kind of scattered throughout the patterns in this really beautiful abstract image. So you could really embellish this page and make it a work of art on its own that kind of has a bunch of messages hidden in it, which I really like. Maria gave us this beautiful little lettered manifesto in Russian, which is really cool. And she just wanted to draw every day and really focus on that daily art practice. So sometimes just having this reminder that is beautifully handwritten can kind of speak volumes, at least to your brain, to remind you that this is important and this is something that I want to focus on. Martha shared just a really basic set of doodles with one emphasis here. So she wanted to keep learning and growing. And she used the word consistency as kind of her focus word. And sometimes that's as simple as that. You can pick one word to focus on for the month, whether it's consistency or color or exploration. You can kind of pick a theme word, and that's really easy to kind of rally your efforts around. Nicole did this adorable little checklist, and I'm sharing this because I loved her little piglets that she drew. She illustrated these little pig characters next to her goals, and I just love how this looks as a checklist. It made me want to write my grocery list with little animal illustrations. I thought it was so cute. So Nicole, thanks for sharing this to-do list, and I'm liking what I'm seeing on this to-do list. Connecting and enjoying the company of the schoolyard community. That's always good to see. Organizing her workspace. So sometimes your goal might not be about what you're creating in your sketchbook or on paper, but it might be about creating your space or curating an area that's going to help you be more creative. That's a great goal, especially as we wrap up the year and move into 2021. It can be good to kind of wipe the slate clean and organize your area so that you'll be more inclined to make art. Looks like Heather and Holly are here. Karen is here. Excellent. Karen and Holly, I shared your manifestos earlier, and thank you for sharing them in the schoolyard because I got to show them to the group today. Robin, this is one last manifesto I wanted to share. Robin did this really beautiful checklist with a lot of splatter and watercolor. And I just love the colors and how this turned out. This was her manifesto for the month of November. And this was a beautiful way to do it. She really kind of got a painterly quality here. And it just looks really beautiful. So I hope that you enjoyed these examples of ways to come up with a creative manifesto for yourself. It looks like a few of you, Kevin, are just popping in, which is great. So good to see more people trickling in. So if you're joining right now, or if you've been here the whole time, I want you to grab your sketchbook. And I want you to grab something to write with. And I'm actually going to put up a timer, and we're going to work on this together just for a few minutes. So I know for me, sometimes I just need to pause my brain and be still for a moment. Being still is not one of my strengths. So sometimes it's good to just have a prompt to sit down and think about something. And today, in this case, thinking about your creative goals for the month of December. So what I want you to do is to grab your sketchbook. And you can approach this a few different ways. Some people like to pick a random page that is maybe 20 pages ahead in their sketchbook and write out this little manifesto, and then they like to kind of come across it in a couple weeks' time, kind of as a reminder of something that they thought about a while ago. Me, for instance, my next page in my sketchbook is actually my manifesto from last month. So it kind of worked out with the timing that I filled the sketchbook, and I'm actually coming to my manifesto on the next page, which worked out. So you can pick a random page, that's one way to do it, or you can pick maybe the first page or the front cover or just the next page that's in line in your sketchbook. Other people that want to kind of keep this as a front and center reminder, you can actually do it on a separate sheet of paper or an index card and tape it above your workstation. So if you work at a desk or at your kitchen table, some people like to tape them up in a place they'll look at every day, so maybe by your coffee maker or on your bathroom mirror. You can do this on a separate sheet of paper so that you can tape it up and look at it every day if you're the kind of person that wants that daily reminder. Totally up to you, but what I'm going to do right now is I've got a sketchbook, little tiny sketchbook, and I'm going to work on mine, and I'm going to set our timer here, and I just want you to start writing. And I would encourage you to revisit this and maybe embellish it. You could do some cool lettering, you could add some color, but I really just want you to spend these next few minutes thinking about what it is that you want to accomplish and what you want to remind yourself of. And for me personally, I'm actually going to write this in a new sketchbook, now that I think about it, because I only have a few pages left in my current sketchbook. So I'm going to do this in a new sketchbook so that I can come across it very soon. But that is my goal. So I'm going to go ahead and find a page in this new sketchbook of mine that I haven't started yet. But you can do it however you want. I hope that you have a pen ready and that you're writing right now. We have a few minutes together just to kind of think about this. And for those of you that are just joining, there are lots of different ways to think about this. You can come up with a to-do list for yourself, things that you want to focus on for the month. Or you can pick a theme or a quote or a word that really just speaks to what it is that you want to accomplish this month or what you want to focus on. So it's really up to you and how you want to approach it. But I really just think there's a lot of value in kind of thinking about these things. And even if it's only once a month, thinking about what it is you want to focus on. Catherine is saying time for the cowbell. I do have the cowbell, yes, because I'm finishing a sketchbook. So I guess I'll ring that for myself. Thanks, Catherine, for the reminder. If anyone finishes a sketchbook, I ring a cowbell for you on our student bulletin every week. But I could use a little cowbell on a Monday morning. More cowbell. Can't hurt anyone, right? But at any rate, I hope that you are kind of just thinking about the month ahead and thinking about, it's the last month of 2020. I also really like thinking about goals on a monthly basis versus New Year's resolutions that kind of set you up with this big lofty challenge for a whole year. And a lot of people, end up dropping off, not completing those goals. I think there's like a date that's been calculated that is the date where people give up on their New Year's resolutions, which is kind of sad. I think it's in like February at some point. So I like thinking about goals in the span of 1 month's time. I think 30 days is kind of an easy increment to focus on something. And then you can move on. So 30 days go by, check the boxes and see what you've learned, what you've developed, and then you can pick something new to focus on. And I really like kind of having that option. I think that's a lot of fun. So I'm picking a page here in this new sketchbook of mine, and that's what I'm gonna hopefully come across this page here in the coming months. But that is what I'm going to do. And sometimes I like coming to my manifesto page and then having to incorporate my day's drawing with that quote or with that list of things. That can kind of be a fun way to integrate it into your sketchbook page. But it's totally up to you how you want to handle this. And I hope for those of you that are here and doing this exercise with me, I hope that you'll share it on social media. You can tag Sketchbook School. I hope that you'll share it in the schoolyard. We have a topic for creative manifestos, and that's what I actually pull from every month when I share these with you all. So please use the creative manifesto topic. Yeah, Gina is saying that she loves that 30-day kind of period. It's nice to focus just for a month I find it way less overwhelming. I am not one of those people that can set a New Year's resolution and stick with it. I usually don't set a New Year's resolution because a goal for a whole year just sounds like kind of a big project to me, and that sort of freaks me out. But that's just me personally. I like thinking about things in terms of a month. You can really do anything for a month. And if you decide that you've set a goal or assigned yourself some projects and you find that you're really not liking it, just know that you can move on. You're not tied to it. It's not etched in stone. So I really just like this as a way to kind of think about what you want to focus on for the month. And I hope that you have had a few moments to do this. I kept blathering on, in Danny fashion, but I hope that you were able to focus and write and do some reflection. And Holly is asking me what type of sketchbook is next. So actually, for me, I have this really interesting, delicate sketchbook that I bought at a stationery store in New York. And it's called a hanji book. It's made from mulberry tree bark. So the paper has a really cool texture, but I have a feeling it's not going to take wet media very well. So I think this sketchbook will be time for me to explore my colored pencils a little bit more and not lean so heavily on watercolor. But this is the book that I'm using. And I just wrote a little reminder to myself. My focus for this month is to slow down. I tend to get really wound up and move through life pretty quickly. And I want to use this final month in the year of 2020 to just slow down. And I think the holidays are a good time to just slow it down. So that's what my goal is for the month of December. But I hope that all of you will share what you're going to be focusing on for the month of December. You can put it in the chat. You can share it in the schoolyard using the Creative Manifesto topic. But my favorite part about this exercise is hearing what other people want to do and what they want to focus on. Chris is wondering if sculptors etch their goals in stone. That is a good question. I like to think they do, and they're really serious about their goals, given that they are etched in stone. But that is a good point. Yeah, so I hope that all of you had a great time thinking about what it is that you want to accomplish this month. I hope that we'll see you back here next month on the first Monday of the month. So that'll be in January, which is wild. It'll be 2021 when we meet again for this purpose. But I hope that you had a good time sitting down and just thinking about what you want to accomplish. And I hope that you'll illustrate it or add some color and share it with us in the community. Whether it's on social media, tag Sketchbook School, or in the schoolyard, you can use the Creative Manifesto topic. Heather is saying she is almost finished with a sketchbook, so she wants to finish it by the end of the month. That's a great goal. Gina is slowing down, keeping the holidays simple, and sticking with her daily creative writing habit. I think that's a great thing to keep in mind for the holidays. Like I said, just slowing down and being a little more mindful. So I hope you were able to be mindful today with us and thinking about our intention for the month. And I hope that I see you all around in the schoolyard and on social media. And I hope that you have a great day and a great week. Happy Monday. And I'll see you all next month for our next manifesto session.